Sweet Intellect. Hosted by Dago's Own Festive.
You are now tuned in to Sweet Intellect Radio.
My sweets, thank you for joining me. We are on episode 5 of Sweet Intellect Radio, and we are live. I got my girls with me, per usual. You already know what time it is. We got to set the intentions, mama. We have to manifest what we need, what we deserve, what we want. And to guide us in the correct direction is our queen, Seven. Take it away.
Hello, people of the land. How are we doing? Okay, so during this time, we are in the Aquarius Pisces area. Okay, so happy birthday to all the Pisces in the beginning of February. What's good, but we are still in Aquarius season. So let's talk about it. So what happened on January 30th? Things kind of got a little foggy. Mercury in retrograde in Aquarius, as is still going until March. I believe that's accurate. Now, I'm here to let us know, how are we doing? How is our mental health doing? There is a lot with the cloudy judgment, I know, but this is the time to go with the flow, aka this air energy. Now, the question is, will it lead you to gaining patience and adaptability, or stress and frustration? Which in every avenue right now, listen, this is where it's needed most and foremost when it comes to our love and our business and thyself. Just keep going with the flow, okay? No stress, no hurry, it's okay. Now, again, Venus is in Aquarius like we talked about in the previous episode. So when it comes to this flow-like energy, regardless of what happens in love, remember to value yourself. And make sure that those around you value your intellect, individuality, and personal space. I cannot say that much more. Now, when you have conversations with people, I just want to make sure that everyone stays patient. Do not get confused. If you have any questions with your purpose, with your path, just ask someone who you feel like can give you the greatest answers possible. Okay, point blank period. We are all on a path. So remember to love with wisdom, or to give love and spread love with wisdom. Now, this is the last but not least, because this is very important, y'all. And it is very important because seven, that's right, brought to you by seven planets are going to be linking up. We ain't linking, but they linking. Right. They're linking up in Aquarius. So this is the age of Aquarius. The moon, the sun, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and there's an asteroid called Pallas, I believe it's called. It is all about wisdom, intelligence, and healing. Okay, so when it comes to seven chakras, like we talked about in the last episode, 7 is all about spirituality and how you're connecting with not just the reality, but your spirituality. Okay, so that's what's happening, y'all. Thank you.
I love that. Okay. She done. Ooh, should I be scared about these 7 planets? I just have a quick question.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of us are going to be going through craziness.
Okay.
But listen when I say, again, when you flow with what's happening, you are going to be led in the tarot deck. Aquarius is a star card.
Okay.
You're going to be led to your destiny. Just follow the true north.
Oh, so
Boom.
It's going to happen for a reason.
It's going
to be a hot mess, but it's going to happen for a reason.
And you're going to be so happy. Listen.
I would take that. You know what? And speaking of craziness, I think last episode when we checked in with our lovely ladies, it was a little hectic. And I just kind of want to, double tap back in, get a refresh. On my right, we have Teal, Miss Ideal. Teal, how have you been? What's new?
Hey, everyone. I'm good. I'm super good. Wellness comes first, unplugging, getting back to self, looking at myself in the mirror a lot, loving on myself, stretching my body, just keeping it cute, Hi, everyone.
Per usual. Yes, keeping it cute per usual. You should put that on a t-shirt because keeping it cute is definitely a mantra.
I
see.
like that, actually.
Yes,
I'll buy it.
100. Star.
What's up?
Miss Starlina, Miss Editing Nina, if you will. How are you? What's good? What's new?
What's poppin'? It is I, Starlina, editing Nina, as she announced to me. I'm feeling pretty calm, actually, a lot better than I was earlier. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I was feeling that chaotic energy she was talking about, but it's focused. It's centered right now. That's a good thing.
That's important. That's important. Hopefully we can be of aid. I know whenever 7 sets the intentions, it always just kind of refreshes me and kind of makes it feel okay in case shit doesn't go my way. 7, are you good, sis?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I love me some Aquarius energy. Good Aquarius energy. Shade was thrown, yes.
Oh.
I love when there's a good Aquarius. Like when the Aquarius knows their purpose, I'm all for it. Aquarius season is one of my favorite seasons. It's peaceful, so I'm peaceful.
I like a lot of Aquarius people in my life. Like,
Yes.
Your
I
moon
have-
is an Aquarius.
my moon is in Aquarius, but yeah, I meet a lot of Aquarius people that are awesome. Capricorns too, which is my rising sign.
She's talking
So
about
maybe.
herself.
I
guys.
was like, wait a minute.
I'm pretty
Never
cool.
heard.
I just self-love one.
I'm dead.
Is Aquarius a water sign?
No.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
so
not.
let's talk about it. There's a misconception, but they are not a water sign. They have air element. They bear the water. So
Okay.
it is about the flow. It is about there's a clear flow. Nothing
They're
blocked.
like the wind.
They're like a wind, but Gemini is more close to a wind because it's quicker.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like a whoosh. The other day, actually, when it was super windy, that was Aquarius season beginning.
Oh, really? That was the day. Of
Yes,
course, that was the day.
That was a lot of air,
Interesting.
y'all.
Damn.
That was.
Hella.
She
So
said
that just
parties
lets you
here.
know, 7. There's gonna be a lot that's gonna be happening in our lives.
Oh, I like that. You know what? It's actually it's interesting that you say it's going to be chaotic because we are entering February. Well, we are in February, and this is Black History Month, and I feel like it might just be chaotic. But when has it not for Black people? Whether it's fucking February, March, or April, when is it never? When is it ever not
I feel
chaotic?
like people are just in tune today because, like, last year, everybody got really riled up again about being Black, about taking pride in being Black. And so now it's Black History Month. I feel like everybody I've talked to today that was Black, they were like, oh, it's Black History Day. Black History Day, Black History Month. And, like, the kids were talking about, like, Martin Luther King and all this kind of stuff. So it's very present on people's mind, I think, this year.
Oh, I love Black History Month. I just love it. Black. Yeah, we black. Anyways, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Let's keep the movement going for sure. It's been an emotional past year. Just give yourself that time, that healing. You guys we put in so much work. We were warriors all this past year, fighting for our rights, literally doing everything we had to do, laying down roots, making sure the voices of Miss Brianna and Mr. George and these amazing human beings who have had to bear horrible circumstances for us to become more aligned as a country. And I think we put off this political, if you don't mind if I say, we put off this political episode. And I think all of us were hesitant on doing that, but I think now's the perfect time.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for this episode.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like especially not only is it Black History Month, but just a month ago, we broke history. We have an African-American female as our vice president, and that's amazing to me. So I'm hoping that, if people haven't learned about Black History Month, it's now in our government. It always has been, but it's like I would just hope that this inspires people to kind of open up and educate themselves because there's no stopping at this point. We are in the White House, baby.
Right. Can I say
Emails.
there was nothing this is San Diego based podcast, as everyone knows. We are local San Diego. We live here in SD. But I live in the Hillcrest area of town, and I was getting a ride home from a coworker the day that, of course, the votes were for sure cast, and literally Hillcrest was lit up. First of all, we've all been on quarantine, right? There was no pride this year for anybody, so it's like we couldn't do much. And then just to see that and everyone like bumping Funk Donald Trump in their whips and just having a little party in the street, it was a very cool energy to see from San Diego. So I felt right then, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I live here.
Yes.
It is kind of one of those things that made me sad because I felt like when I voted, like, when you vote blue in California, like, it's expected. So for most of the time, even if you did have a vote, right, for the blue party, if you were in another state, it would mean so much more.
It did.
If you were in a red state, your blue vote is so much more hefty. So I think sometimes here it's like kind of wasted. I'm
so glad you said
like,
that.
you know
because
what it is.
We have to shout out the women of Atlanta and the women in the South who went to bat to get all of these black votes, y'all.
Black people showed up.
We did it. We did it. Like it was a collective and just respect, because it is weird because I've lived in a Republican state before and now I live in California and it's a blue state. So it's a different energy. Like you have to really, you cast your vote almost like, and here I was hopeful walking to the mailbox this year. I was like, let's do this.
On her way.
On her way on foot too. I went on foot.
You know what? I would say the last time something this monumental. There we go.
Monumental, either or.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blunt's kicking in. I'm so sorry. The host is losing control.
Hey, but
after
you got it
Samantha.
though. But
So
you got
it hasn't felt this monumental since when I was in sixth grade, and Obama was elected as president. And I remember my teacher was in the classroom crying. And I was so uneducated on just the environment. I was a little bit like, okay, she's a little over the top right now. But understanding how impactful that was and now being present and aware of our situation and seeing that, I'm very proud. I know that, Ms. Harris has some backlash. She's hasn't been the most holy of holiest, especially within our community. But I'm
neither
just
of
hoping.
them have. But
okay, what politician has been
you're
here?
in politics.
No,
Exactly.
seriously.
But I think it still says something that she got that vote.
Yeah, it says a lot. It says a lot about. It just says a lot about what we went through and what we won't stand for anymore.
Exactly.
And that's what you said when you say at the beginning of this podcast, to center yourselves and like figure out what you need and what you want. What we want is a revolution, and what we want is things to change. And what I want is our planet to be okay. So as long as someone's fighting for those just basic necessities and those morals that I think we uphold, I'm down for it. So we'll give them a chance, like we did everyone. I really, really think they have a way better off shot, you guys. Like what we just went through. What we just went through, we about to be. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, and the Republican Party right now, like they're in a place where I feel like they're gonna try and fight everything just because they lost so wholly.
No,
like,
they're not gonna do what they did to Obama, where they fought it for 4 years.
They're not able to this
they're
time.
Not.
Well,
They're
they
really
just
not.
I'm
low-key
saying,
broke
like, they
into
will
the
try
White
it.
House just a couple days
What the
ago.
Get your people first, and then
Yeah.
talk to us about how to run a country. Like, I don't know how you
I
do it.
just think when it comes to politics, man, it's like when it comes to politicians, like I really don't trust them. But when it comes down to the status of our excellence finally being remembered and finally seeing our faces, because when it comes to money, when it comes to you going to a specific job, like it's always a specific title or a specific expectation that you have to uphold just in order for you to keep a good job. For what? And why do I have to have a law against me wearing my natural hair or a hair that's protective, first off, that's going to help my hair grow? That shouldn't be a law. That should just be it. So now that we have her in there, I'm like, yes, give us a great name. We vice president and soon we'll be president. Period.
Yeah.
Leveling up always.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely go through a lot of it. It takes a lot of knowledge, and just politics in general is a weird conversation to have, and that's why we put it off till now. But what we've been through this past year and what we won't stand as a country, and that dude ain't gonna get his 8 years, like, bruh, that's a statement. That's a serious statement that we made.
Yeah.
And I mess with the whole message of it. Whatever it ends up being, I hope for the best for, like, the nitty gritty and all the back and forth that I'm sure happens in politics. But we're on a better path. Let's talk about the weirdness, though. The dang White House break-in, whatever we want to, or not the White House, the Capitol.
I saw it for the first time on Twitter, and I was just like, oh, wait, this is real? Like, this is, y'all really doing this?
Really, though.
Okay. And then as it was happening, I was like, this this has to be the craziest thing that these white people thought that they were going to get away with.
Right.
And the fact that the videos were coming out and people were surprised that there was
I know,
backlash.
I'm really
I was like,
surprised.
you're breaking into a federal building for this country that you ride so hard for. You are so patriotic, and you're over here and you're destroying your own property. You know what I mean? You're literally doing this against yourselves and whatever you said your beliefs were. I don't get it.
But that's not what they think it is, you know? They're not. That's how you know it's not about the White House. Like, it's about your perspective. Because if that was something that you look up to, there's no one that has respect for a church that's going to fuck up the church. They're not going to do that.
It's going to go burn it down. or
No,
something.
exactly. It's not about that. It's about the connection that you're having to a specific biased perspective. It's not about the White House. It's about you getting what you want, and that's it.
Yeah, I have to say it was a lot of that caucasity that came through. that audacious, like, I own this. This is mine. You're not going to tell me how I'm going to live or how I have to be nice to people that I don't like. Like, you know what I mean? It was a lot of that ego and shit that comes through. And I just don't like that attitude.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
And now we have social media where it's all displayed. So I think regardless of if it's wrong or right, you have all the evidence right there for you to decide for yourself. So it's just wild because you go on Fox News, you see one thing, you go on CNN, they got the same clip, but the whole headline's flipped. You know what I mean?
Right.
The victim's a whole different person. And so I feel like considering what's been happening, not just last year, but damn, since the dawn of time, I feel like hopefully we get more impactful, whether it's just 1 month out of the year or we do it consistently. I hope it's just enough to make a difference. And I think that we're starting to see it just, by our vice president. I think that's so promising. I think it's unfortunate that there wasn't even a conversation as to what her race was. Like there was a conversation about Obama being an immigrant. But it's so crazy because the second I Googled her name, it was just ethnicity, race. And I'm like, damn, it's really that much of a topic. I think that's insane. Not only that, but people are trying to claim she's this or she's that and putting her in there rather than just quoting directly from her.
But isn't Trump not like all the way white, or if not white at all?
Ain't nobody talking about it. Isn't that crazy? Ain't nobody curious.
That's really
Because
weird
it
how
doesn't matter.
people who
It's
ride
an
for him
outside
are
look.
completely just in a spit. But there are people from many. Remember, was I with y'all, right? When there was that rally when we were at the
damn
eating,
diner,
and
first
they
thing in the
were,
morning
like,
at breakfast.
They weren't all white.
They were not white, y'all. Let's talk
At
about
all.
that. That was very interesting experience for me because you go. It's a seriously stigma.
What
it's
happened?
basic stigma. So we were there too.
We were at a diner, yeah.
Yeah, we were at a diner after
We were
did
grubbing.
our workout, and we went to go to the diner for brunch. And this Trump rally comes going by, and I'm letting you know they were all Filipino. They were all Asian. Straight up.
Was it
Bruh,
Asians for Trump?
I was shocked.
Might be.
I was shocked because I have a ton of Filipino friends, and they're all my age though, right? We're all in our younger
But
20s.
you just imagine
I never thought about their parents' views, how their parents view these things, how their grandparents view this thing. But there are certain, like, I feel like, it's just an immigrant story and then an African American story. That's a hard story to correlate because it doesn't adjust. We were drug here, not willingly. And people willingly come here to seek solace, right? So there's two different stigmas in that. And it's like, I just don't know if they just want to come here and conform because they're so happy to be here. So let me just go with the majority and not have a voice. But I do want to say, like, to my Filipino homies, like, educate your parents, because that was really interesting to me. And I'm not saying that's everyone. Obviously, that's what the whole conversation. Don't stigmatize certain people and their beliefs. But in a whole, I think that was a pretty eye-opening experience, if not for me, or maybe for you too.
Yeah. But I have to say, I think that probably comes down to traditional beliefs as well with like older generations, especially if you're from other countries where, because, America, our culture, lifestyle is very free. You know what I mean? Not to say that we are free, because we know we going through it, okay? But I mean, like, the choices that we have and we make, especially about personal things, our sexuality, the things that we do for a living, like, those are very free to us. And some people, when they come from rigid communities or cultures, like, them having that outside line or any kind of thought about equality, a lot of it is based in a different foundation of teaching. A lot of it's religious, a lot of it's, oppressive.
But how is, okay, let's talk about it. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep getting off topic. If it has anything to do with religious views, I just don't understand how we have the audacity to say that God is love, but we're judging somebody for being themselves. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to not even just being themselves, but what makes you think that God hates? How is that anything connected to religion? Like, there's nothing that's predominantly this specific race. No, everybody has their own avenue of greatness, cultural wise, food wise, like generational wise, like gifted wise, everything. So I just don't think, like, when it comes to religion, if that's going to be the topic, that we need to get to that point of hatred, of giving a reflection of God that doesn't exist.
Right.
We can't. We're a immigrant country. Like, pretty much anyone, if you're not Native American, you were not born on this land. If you're not
Say it again.
Chicano, you were
Say
not
it
born
right.
on this land.
Right.
If you are not Mexican, you are not born on this land. So you are all immigrants, even these white people. So
100%.
it's kind of like when you're built in an immigrant, which is what makes America beautiful, by the way. It's like all the melting pots. The fact that I can have my friends teach me how to make lumpia and then,
Right.
be rolling banana lumpia with my homies and then like also getting my soul food kick. Like, it's I love our country for that and the mashup, and like we are so accepting. It's just this little 5% shit that's not accepting, that just like needs to kick rocks. And I'm sorry, but if people like Trump keep breeding, like, it's gonna be a little ways till the end.
I'm just saying, or passing down those values. Like, can we start breaking generational patterns? Hey, I kind of like the fact that the kids nowadays, from what I've seen, they're breaking traditional patterns. We'll talk
100.
about that later, but yeah.
I think to tap on the subject of anything foreign, I think we also have to take into consideration propaganda. I think it's huge because North Korea, big happen about how they live in. We know what the fuck going on in North Korea, but they try to act like it's all flowers and daisies. So it's like, I could only imagine in the Philippines, they think Trump a hero, maybe because they might only see the good parts, just like how we've only seen good parts of certain areas. So I think propaganda plays a part, and also culture. Because if your parents and your grandparents and their great-grandparents raised you a certain way, why would you even question it?
Right.
But definitely newer generations are starting to be able to access different perspectives and see different facts. And so I feel like we are very open-minded and ready to change.
I wanted to add about, like, when Thais was saying, if you're bringing in religion or your religious beliefs. I remember studying, it was like AP Euro class or something in high school, and we talked about different religions and how, like, in Christianity there's so many different sects, and some of them say God is love, but other ones, the definition of God is justice, or it's peace, or it's, something else that's not exactly love. So sometimes when you're thinking about that religious sense, it's not the same perspective as well. Like, you're expecting certain things from God. If he's just, he may not love everybody because he loves the ones that, emulate him. So it's a different perspective.
I need to talk to God.
Yeah.
I need to talk to
Get
him
God on the
myself.
phone. Okay.
Right.
There's way too many explanations, and how I don't get it, because there's so many of us that have different preferences and come from different walks of life, and we either like the same sex, doesn't matter who you are, or you want to be married in a church, some want a small wedding. Like, we're all different, but all the same at the same time. It's like, we're a reflection of him, right? So why wouldn't we be amazing?
I've had this side as well. Like, I really think your religious experience, or your spiritual one, let's not say religious, because I'm thinking about, as an individual, we are so different. We have so many different interests and things that make us tick as an individual. Your spirituality and the way that you connect to the world or the universe or God or whatever way you want to describe it should be as unique as that. So when people all get together and they have all the same beliefs and they feel like it's hard to step outside of that, I feel like that right there is removing you one step from being close to that godliness, because you're afraid of tuning into some new things because you're limiting yourself. You're limiting all the things that he gave you. The universe is placed in your hand, and you're saying, no, it doesn't fit in line with whatever this tablet says. And you're limiting yourself and whatever you think that God gave you.
Yeah.
A word.
Yeah, and religion is politics. It literally goes back, guys. It goes back. It's as simple as the Protestants and the Catholics. They weren't at war over the fact that they both, worshiped similar gods. It's we're both of Christian descent, low key. It was all about a war of power. So religion equates to power, and it carried over from the damn European countries to America, and here we are. Religion is power. I'm sorry, but I'm not from San Diego, born and raised. I grew up in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
A small town, Cache Valley Republican. Y'all don't even know. No, I'm not Mormon. Don't ask me. Everyone asks me if I'm motherfucking Mormon.
But the Mormons are heavy
Obviously
there.
not. I'm black. I'm not Mormon. Enough said. So the whole point of me saying that is like, I learned about Mormon shit. I learned about Joseph Smith. I did projects on him. He's a Mormon immigrant. Obviously, the slaughter of Native Americans was all through my history books and textbooks. And it's just like, okay, Jim Crow ass learning, right? Jim Crow ass education from jump. And you can see through it all. And I love that, like, kids are so smart and strong. And, like, I hope we keep this channel PG enough some of the time for them to tune in and also, like, get some of this knowledge and exchange knowledge. Because I know they're dealing with those same kind of things. So that plays into politics is the kids' education. These Jim Crow ass things we're learning in school that don't look like us, don't feel like us.
But that's the good thing about social media. I feel like right now, like it's a hit or miss, we know. But like when it comes to kids nowadays, because they're breaking those generational patterns, they're able to listen in on podcasts like this and learn from us. Because we're basically a generation above them.
They're basically learning from home right now anyways.
Yeah, and they're on their phone 24/7. So why not? Regardless, hey, PG or rated R, we're going to keep it real on this channel.
Period.
Right.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting because we're sitting here talking about like how the new school, quote unquote, kids are making the movement. And so that got me intrigued to see, how long Black History Month has been around. Because, I feel like now we're making steps to kind of have Black pride and take what we want, take what we deserve. And Black History Month started in 1969, which is not that long ago.
Oh, wow.
The 70s. That was not that long ago.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I looked up with my nephew earlier when segregation ended, and it was 1964.
1964, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
Yeah. Something like that.
Okay, don't fact check us. But no, I do know that Black History Month was 1969, and it was apparently just a week at first. It was Negro History Week.
Ooh, now we got a month.
Yeah. So it was a group who had a week in 1926. From there, it caught wind, and flash forward to 1969, we now have the whole month. So that's just right there a case of how our power, our screams, our pushes to get what we want makes a difference. And I know it's just a month, but damn, we can continue pushing and continue getting to where we need to be.
Just acceptance. I think that's all that we're all looking for from each other, right? Acceptance. And I don't know, you guys will see, we just are coming out with our TikTok challenge, our first one. We went ahead and did the Flo Millie I Am challenge. So you guys will be seeing that soon. Or if we may have dropped it by the time this episode comes out. But yes, check it out. Yeah. I just want to say, it's just seeing that culture of TikTok and Black girls and white girls just trying to understand each other. I see both sides of y'all's opinion because I am both sides. We're, the women on this channel are mixed women. So I see both sides. It's so interesting. And I get it. It's like these girls are using too dark of contour. So they're getting, judged like they're blackfishing. But the Black girls are wearing straight hair, and so they're acting like this. It's like a little dynamic that I see going on, but at least there's a conversation. So I do want to continue to have that conversation, but let's make it constructive. That's my advice. Let's hone that in because that conversation needs to happen. The percentage of white women who voted for Trump, even this year and the year to get him elected.
They were the majority. Let's just say that.
They were the majority. Middle-aged white women.
We see you, Karen.
We see you, Karen. But
we saw the stats.
Yeah.
That's,
the Karens, Karinas,
yes.
all of y'all.
Okay, sorry. I just want to mention one more thing. We've been fighting for 4 years for Miss Harriet Tubman to be on the $20 bill. I actually dropped a single on this track 4 years ago. Finally, 4 years later, it has been approved.
Yes.
It will go through. We will see it happen. I don't know for how long with all this Bitcoin and virtual money and shit. Who knows? Cash might be null and void soon, folks. So
A lot's been happening on the
transition
stock
your
market.
cash into something that can flow freely.
Right. You know, speaking of money, speaking of politics, speaking of money.
I opened up my stocks real quick.
Right, just double checking them.
What's going on?
You know, I feel like with the political movement, we now have a new president. We now have a new mindset. So I'm hoping, you know, fucking we get some damn money. I'm just going to say it because I'm trying to be Jimmy with the stimmy.
Did you not get yours?
I got 2 of them, but then we were
There's
talking
a
about
third.
how the next one, the third one might be 2,000. Then I heard it was pushed back to 1,400. I'm like, Biden, baby, what are we doing? You
Yeah, I
know
think they're
so.
giving you
I
the
got my
difference
little
between the
card.
2,000
I got my
and
little
the
card the
600
other
that we
day,
got.
finally.
My mom did too.
Yeah.
Annoying.
I don't know. I got a couple things on Amazon. I haven't spent much of it, but
Yeah, whatever you do
Oh,
with
of the
it,
last
spend
one?
it.
yeah, the little one.
I
I
heard
paid
people.
my car note.
There you go. Exactly. Like it's helped like one way or another. And I feel like there are people working at a bank. There are so many people who have come in and been like, you know what? I don't even need this honestly, but can I go ahead and take the 600 out 100, please? I'm like, oh, if you don't need it, slide it in, miss.
I think that's what us black people do because I don't want to know what they don't even know what I bought with it. Like I'm just gonna get the money out and then go do what I do.
You know what?
I think it was like a thing this year. Like, don't ask people what they spent that money on because you don't know what they
100%.
needed it for. Maybe they
Exactly.
didn't need it. Maybe they bought some stocks and maybe they paid some bills
I
that
just
they were
know the
late
line
on.
at
Like,
the dispensary was extra long that day.
Yeah.
At work.
Right, because pocket watching will not be tolerated on this
Okay,
broadcast.
can't
So
say
I
I'm
just would like
stocking
to, yeah, I would like to say that now.
Too
Well,
bad we don't accept debit.
period. But you can't hit the cash app. Okay,
That's right.
Speaking of money and all that good stuff, so we have the stimulus, which is all across the board. If you make a certain amount of money, you qualify for a certain package, whether you're married, single, whatever it may be. But I kind of want to get more specific. Because obviously we deserve some motherfucking money because we are Americans and because we've been working hard and giving them our tax dollars. Now, do you feel as an African American person, as a person of Black descent, do you feel like we deserve reparations? And if so, how much? Because that's what I want to get into.
I'm both Native and Black, and I
Okay.
feel like when it comes to Natives, I love it, I get it, but we've been through a lot too. Like seriously, like we need to just be honest here. Like when it came to building this country, it wasn't about the forefathers, okay? It was about us. We did that shit. So therefore, when it comes to us building, how come we ain't getting no money from the business? You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, regardless, because it's still happening now, when it comes to hip hop music, when it comes to anything, the culture is still being taken to this day. There's an entire plastic surgery page on Instagram that you will find. Just saying, no matter what the feature is, no matter what it is, we just need to get what we deserve. Period.
100%.
Right.
I had one time read he preferred instead of getting reparations, right? Instead of getting reparations, Black people would be tax exempt. They would have free college. They would they may get
Jim
some
Crow
kind
ass
of cash, but like they basically just free education in general. But how would you guys feel about doing those instead, like having exemptions from a lot of things? Because being tax exempt, like if you make $100,000, sometimes they're taxing you 25,000 of those at least, right? So I mean, you're keeping extra money. How do you feel about that? Is that an option for you?
When you put it that way, I mean, if you add a little special parking spot, you know, for me at the stout, we can
Reverse
talk about it.
segregation.
No taxes, and I got my little parking pass. I can
little
slide
Black
right up to
Girl
the front.
Magic.
Little Black Girl Magic
No,
sticker
yeah.
sign. You see it, can't tell me. Okay,
Right.
It's right next
Instead
to
of
it.
handicap, we
Because
got
Running
a
out of the
little.
nail salon.
Absolutely.
Right next to the
Excuse me?
handicap, we have the Black people parking spaces.
Exactly. Thank you. No, I feel like in all seriousness, I feel like depending on what you got going on, you could use that to your advantage. Because I'm already thinking if you had a business and you're tax exempt and it's just a sole prop, you ain't got to worry about that shit. So it's like just so much money that you might be spending. How can we sit there and put it on one lump sum deposit or maybe an annual salary? You know what I mean?
Even in college, like, because I remember I had a bunch of Somalian friends and Ethiopian friends when I went to high school, and they had grants. They had these different type of like, scholarships that you can get for being African or being Black or in a Black club. So there are specific things, but it needs to be spread with everything.
Right.
Not just college, you
Young
know?
people,
Like
certain
knowledge
people.
is power, but like everything.
But also, I think we need to check. We need to check
You know?
regularly, and we need. I
I
think
already
regularly
said that.
is
I'm
the
down.
main point.
I bring that up because our new president, he told the
We don't even
Washington
acknowledge
Post.
Biden over here.
I know. Told the Washington Post he supports studying how reparations could be part of larger efforts to address systemic racism. I think that's awesome. This is according to CNN. They passed a bill in June to create a reparations task force, moving the legislation onto the Senate state. So in July, the bill. So reparations task force. So that means they've now hired a team, a committee to get to working on what could reparations be, how often, and kind of, get down to the nitty gritty, just like we did the stimulus.
How
we had
exactly does it look?
No, sorry. Why don't you just let my black fathers come home to their children for misdemeanor crimes? Why don't you let anyone, since marijuana is legal in California, why don't you let anyone on a minor marijuana drug offense, even if it's multiple times, let they ass go home to their families? How about you give them some money? Some
But, like,
other
why-
extra tax force,
Right.
with some extra tax money.
Because they're
like,
paying the task force. Let's
the
not
government
forget
has
this.
enough of my money.
Yeah.
The government has enough of my money. Like my tax return is probably going to be and I pulled 80-hour weeks all year. So it's just like,
this
there's
year's tax
bigger.
returns
I
must
get
be-
it. I'm really hopeful for that, but I don't know about reparations. Sorry, I didn't get to say my piece about that, so I'm still commenting. I don't know about reparations. I don't know that it would help. There's obviously the parody of it happening over time. That's more one of my favorite things to look at when you see your Chris Rock and say how he's gonna what it's gonna look like, and it's like Cadillacs has just gone up like 89%. Like I don't know. I just like when I hear reparations, it's such a unfathomable thought. But so that's really interesting.
I would love for Black people to get reparations, specifically in reoccurring checks, right? Specifically because I want you guys to go into your community and start buying things, and then that way we'll be getting the money for free to go and buy back our communities, to go and support the people in the community, to live above just surviving. And then in that way itself, you almost balance the playing field, just that much more because you give us the freedom to determine what we're going to do. There's going to be Black people that go and fuck it off. That's just going to be a thing. And there's also going to be somebody who takes that money, learns how to use it, and then starts teaching finance classes. You know what I mean? So that's one way we can always use reparations.
Right.
I'll take them.
I think that's important to understand, exactly what you said. If we have more money for Black people, that is now turned into the Black dollar. And just as you sit here and you paint a picture of people creating businesses and reaping the benefits of Black customers, paying them their money, I'm just like, this would break the fucking system. I'm just thinking about in however many years it might take, we could be on top. And I do not think that makes people very comfortable. I don't think any type of systemic oppression breaking makes the big wigs comfortable. However, it's good to see they're at least making a goddamn effort. I mean, geez, it's the least they could do. Considering the trials and tribulations, because I know Native Americans, they receive benefits, and as they fucking should, but they're there, so hopefully we can get there. We just gotta, I don't know, we gotta keep speaking up, which is why we have this Black History Month episode brought to you today. I feel like going back onto who we look up to in our community is really important. I feel like not only do we have a vice president who is now of the Black community, but we have a lot of people in pop culture who inspire what the next move is. And it's crazy to see because a lot of the people who are on top are Black people. Like you look at Cardi B, or you look at Kevin Hart, or you look at all these people who are just owning the entertainment industry. And to see that happen has now influenced society. And I feel like we're going towards this route of where, Black has always been cool, but now Black is everywhere. Like you can't walk through the mall and not see somebody with natural curly hair or melanin in their skin.
Have you been to Target?
Every billboard. It's
Have you been to
amazing.
Target since February started? I'm telling you, sis, the whole lobby, I was like, I want me and Abja walk into Target, and I was like, it's so black in here. Like all the art, the T-shirts,
It's
like
just so ironic
No,
of
for real,
Target.
I bought a book because it was
Yeah.
on sale for Black History Month.
in Target, right in the front.
Yeah.
Children's books, all of it. I was like, oh wow.
Mhm.
So I mean, I noticed a huge difference. I'll start by saying I noticed a huge. If we're talking about the entertainment industry in this, the brands.
Yes.
I mean, I got hit up a lot
There you go.
from some yoga companies that were like, we need a. They don't come right out and say we need a pretty brown girl to come model our yoga clothes. But it was a time that, like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm glad for all of the Black people who unfollowed a brand that did not have a single person of representation of you. Please continue to do so and like stand your course and like stay who you are and work with other people of color and elevate yourselves, because they really ain't about it. Some of them ain't really about it. And if they are, then you would notice that from the way that they market their stuff. So just pay attention. I learned a lot on social media from this, like, because brands were hitting me up, and then I look at their following just to say, oh, okay, well, do they represent what I'm looking for? And then, a couple of them do and a couple of them don't. So interesting.
There was this app, and you guys know, like, I'm all about astrology, but there was this app. They were listing like all the celebrities that were cancers, and I was waiting for the Black person. I was like, and there was literally none. And I'm like, you want me to follow this? How am I supposed to connect to this? Like,
Right.
there are way more. Let's talk about Nelson Mandela. Let's talk about Solange. Let's talk about some people that have really been innovative within cancers. Like, there should just not be white people on this. Like, you got a lot of followers. You need to step your game up.
That goes back to what Jill was
following.
saying.
Like, come on now. Your audience is bigger. Let's do this.
Get more diverse.
Right.
Yeah, language is a big thing when it comes to scoping out companies, like especially with things like that. You notice the people that they highlight don't look like you. They may have a Black person on the page, but they're not talking about anybody Black. They're not giving any light to anybody who's Black. They're not using words that actually show the light of that Black person, but they're saying this Black person grew up in the hood, and they want to talk about all the negative things that they've overcome instead of just saying this person is a shining light. You know what I mean? That's language that you need to look out for too, because that's how they put those little microaggressions in there in the first place.
Yeah,
They just don't give you any of your credit.
Yeah, like the year Obama got elected, McDonald's was like so Black. Like the voice on all the McDonald's commercials, you guys remember this? Like it was just like, hey, hey, baby, welcome to McDonald's.
The
Get
Snickers,
your mocha chocolate with extra chocolate on it.
This is your
We
president.
said chocolate 5 times. Like I just remember being like a teenager, like, oh, like you just see things
Didn't know
happen.
McDonald's was
and then
Black.
Trump comes into office and
It's gone.
It's all the opposite. So it's like marketing goes along, entertainment goes along with politics, and a lot of these entertainers are brave to put their views out there and let us know. Like I do believe they influence the vote. I'll be honest, I don't believe celebrities influence the vote as much as we'd like to say. Like, okay, Beyonce posting an I voted sticker, I feel like it makes people just want to go vote more, but it doesn't necessarily affect the way we vote. Because I think someone can love Beyonce, but still go vote for someone like a Trump. Easily.
Yes.
They'll bump Ariana Grande all day, but their political views are going to stay the way they've been raised.
Right.
Entertainment, it's a weird entanglement. Entanglement.
Did you guys know? I'm dead.
Word of
Did
the
you
century.
guys know?
You got a fun fact, Seven.
I do.
Lay it
You
on me.
always know, right in the vault. Did you guys know, like in Black neighborhoods, cigarettes are actually cheaper? It's a given fact. And a cigarette commercial actually
I have seen that
talked about
studied
it.
actually.
I was like, wait, and I think The Voice, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Kerry Washington. Shout out to the Aquarius Queen.
Okay.
Good. But no, yeah, cigarettes are... I don't understand it. Even when you're talking about the weed and talking about how people don't, when it comes to the Black culture, like you can go in jail for something so small. And why is cigarettes cheaper in our society? It doesn't make any sense. You already know what it is. It's setting us up for success, quote, quote. We're basically dying at the hands of our government.
Yeah.
Right. But we already knew that, though.
A lot of that, even with where they place liquor stores, the fact that a lot of inner cities are within like cross sections of freeways. If you guys look at major cities, the poorest neighborhoods are always right next to freeways, and it's usually because those are areas that white people moved out of. They were cheaper now. Black people moved in. They're outdated, and they're also, if you look at studies of how kids grow up in those areas, they usually have more health problems. They usually, are asthmatic, things like that. It's because their environment is trash. There's usually like downtown, it's negative. So all of that is very prevalent in minority communities, and it was tactful. Like there was a reason.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, our education system is really bad right now. I mean, the worst that we'll probably ever see in a century. Like,
I'm worried about these kids in a couple years.
And now they're not physically going to school anymore.
Right.
Like, this must be a whole transition and a flip. And I don't think that we were ready, because we've barely been rocking with technology not that long. Ain't nobody know how to go about making sure all these young adults come out with the proper education and make it to trig, and at least through all their AP classes, and like set them up for college.
It's so easy for them to ignore it too.
Yeah, they're home. They're not getting that development of actually going off to college right now. Now they're home. Sometimes
social skills are going to be crap. Like, how does this kid going to know how to interact with somebody in person? They've never had to shake your hand because they've been at home, and kindergarten through whatever.
To kind of show the other side of that coin is, you have the kids who won't be able to develop thick skin because, they've just been babied the whole time. But then I think about what the fuck I went through in elementary school, and I was bullied as hell. Like, I was so beat down, like between elementary and middle school, that I had so much anxiety, and I really did not know who I was. So it's like, either we're going to see kids be a little fucking weird because all they did was stay at home, or we're going to see kids learn to know their self-worth because there hasn't been Tommy at the playground telling them differently.
right.
You know what I
And
mean?
shout
Good
out
way
to
to
all the
perceive it too.
Yeah, shout out to all the teachers. Like, thank you for helping these kids make the transition and chilling in your living rooms on Zoom all day with all your students. Like, thank you for the get down. Maybe this is the push. Maybe you guys will get more control of your lesson plans and what you're choosing to educate these kids on. And happy Black History Month to all the kids out there and all the teachers. I'm sure you guys are learning all your little tidbits of information about everything. It's cool.
That's got to be one of the hardest jobs of last year. Like, obviously there was like first responders, but teachers, like, you had to show up every day while you were stressing out about everything else going on in this world.
Yes.
You had to convert all of your teaching system, and I'm sure you had plenty of parents who were cussing you out because they didn't know how to get into your whatever school login program, and that was the least of your worries. You know what I mean? So kudos to y'all. Y'all still pushing.
Definitely.
Still pushing.
I remember I had a Black history teacher, I want to say my freshman year, and he took the time to teach us about Black history and celebrate Black History Month. And it was off the books. It was like packets he passed out. He clearly, did not do this because it was part of the rubric. It was because he knew it was important. And to this day, all my respect goes out to that man. And so I think that that's interesting, because now we're on Zoom where the principal might not be in the chat. So you can go ahead and teach them what you want to teach them. Just make sure they pass the test. So it's like, hopefully our teachers out there, especially our Black teachers out there, are feeling loved within this, because it's a lot going on. It's a lot. And having to balance that is very important. And, I just kind of want to end this episode off by hopefully being able to express how we balance ourselves, because I feel like while we celebrate Black History Month, we also need to take time to make sure that we're maintaining balance. So if you tapped in on the last episode, we were talking about chakras. We were talking about our root chakra, making sure that you are grounded there, because that is your foundation. But how have we been since then? Have we been practicing? If so, how? And what are ways we can continue to balance ourselves?
I would have to say, from a healer standpoint, when it comes to High Priestess energy, what really helps me in my path is my tarot. Like, even if you don't do it professionally, it's really not about that. It's more so about you gaining the knowledge whenever you have it, and it's remotely with you all the time. Like, you'll just put it in your bag. If you need a little guidance, you can dig in your bag, pull a card, bada bing, bada boom. And also meditation. So I would say that's how I'm holding up. Art, poetry, all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me that's helped me, especially when it comes to being Black, right? Because I sometimes struggle with having to take care of the Black woman and then taking care of me, because those are sometimes two different things.
Right.
Because, you can go outside of the realm and sometimes you don't feel like that's how you want to define yourself. Sometimes I just want to wake up and be a person, you know what I mean? But every day you have to choose it. And so for me, it's doing little things every day that give me like satisfaction that don't have to do with anything. Like I peel almonds at night, like, and it's a thing. Thais has witnessed this. I soak them on overnight. I pull them, and then I take the skin off of the almond and I eat it. And it's
Oh my gosh.
it's an upgrade for your almond eating life. And just so you guys know, but to me, it's relaxing because I don't have to like mentally think about anything but this one little tedious task, and it just calms me. It gives you something to focus on. And then it's just little practices like that. So you don't have to go and peel almonds, but, find something like that for your day that makes you concentrate and just brings you back to the moment and being mindful of what you're doing for this time. And then that way, when you go back to living, you have centered yourself a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah, as a Black woman this year, I plan to stay balanced in my revolution and my reflection. I'm going to stay vigilant with my voice as well as activate all parts within myself to just build a stronger healer in myself, be a stronger base for other women, be a stronger woman, stronger Black woman every day.
Period. I like that. I think definitely in the climate that we're in, it's kind of foolish to ignore your blackness if you're a Black woman, because it's, something it can't just be a part of you. It has to be how people identify you. And I think that can really get to you if you're out and about in the world all the time. Like whether you work a 9 to 5, you're an entrepreneur, you do your own thing. I think it's important that we stay balanced, because sometimes people will try to put you in different lanes just because of the color of your skin. And I feel like to remind yourself of who you are outside of what people want to tell you is so important, whether that's through meditation, whether that's through little mindless tasks like peeling almonds or hitting a certain yoga pose. I think it's important that you figure out what it is and you continue to do it till it don't work no more. So with that being said, I hope we've left you with something sweet. I hope we've opened your minds, expanded your hearts. And with that being said, I want to wish you a good day, a good night, or whatever it may be. Bye now.
We love you.
Bye, everyone. Happy Black History Month.
Peace and blessings.